Hey, secondary math 2 honors. Okay, so you've finally gotten down to 2 terms. I'm gonna have 2 example problems from the thing. I'm gonna focus first on 2 terms. I'll do half the page with box method, half the page with factor by grouping, and then I'll go on to question 7 where I will use only box method because that's my favorite method, and it's up to you guys on which one you want to use. All right? Okay, so the first thing I notice about this problem is there's a greatest common factor, and I'm going to pull that out just to save myself headache. So I'm going to pull out a 2k squared at the very beginning. So this is factor completely, so we just have a 2k squared, and I can kind of ignore it from this point forward. All right, so once I pull that out, I'm left with a k squared minus 25. And then over here, I'm left with a k squared minus 25. This will be box. This will be grouping, okay? I'm going to do box first, then I'll do grouping. So in box method, my squared term goes in the upper left box, and then my term with no variable goes down in the bottom right. Okay, and then I have to multiply the first and last term together, which is fairly easy. Right now, that'd be negative 25k squared. Because it's negative, this actually makes my life easy. The middle thing here is a plus 0k. I want two numbers to multiply to 25, but add to 0. The only way two numbers can add to 0 is if they are each other's opposites, right? So that would be the equivalent of 5k and a negative 5k, because 5 minus 5 is 0, but 5 times 5 is 25, and because this is negative, that works out great. So we've got a 5k and a negative 5k. All right, so my greatest common factor in this first row is going to be a k. My greatest common factor in the second row is a negative 5. Remember, the negative's here, so we have to pull out the negative. Okay, now this is a positive k. Then right here, since this number is positive, this is going to be a positive number. And then 5 and 25's greatest common factor is 5. So we have k plus 5 and k minus 5, which would go next to my 2k squared. All right, now if I'm going to do it by grouping, this is very, very similar. It's the same idea. We still have the k squared. We still have the minus 25. But now the positive 5k and the negative 5k go in the middle. Okay, and then we've got to group it. So here's our first grouping. Here's our second grouping. So in the first group, we have a k that we can pull out. And then what's left is going to be a k plus 5. And then in the second group, there's a negative 5 that we can pull out. I really want that to be rainbow colored. Hold on. Negative 5 we can pull out, which then leaves a k plus 5. Because negative 25 divided by negative 5 would be a positive 5. Negative 5k divided by negative 5 would be a positive k. All right, so now we can have the k plus 5, pull that out, and we're left with the k minus 5, which, again, will just go right here, which is super nice of it. All right, so grouping and box method, we end up with the same answer. Both ways work just fine. They're doing the exact same math. It's literally not any more or less difficult. It's exactly the same. All right, notice this one's a little more complicated. There's so many letters in this. Isn't that great? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's any common factors. So this is 25y, x. This is y. Okay, right now there's y's in common. 25x, z. And all of a sudden there's no common factors. Cool, so there's nothing I can pull out of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do box method. I'm leaving them kind of wide because they're really long terms. So we've got 25y squared x squared, a negative y squared, a negative 25x squared z squared, and a positive z squared. Cool. All right. This is going to be kind of fun. All right, so let's do that first row. So that first row, I have a y squared in common. That's it. That's all they have in common. That second row, all they have in common is a z squared, but because this is negative, we have to pull out a negative, right? Correct. All right, so we've got a y squared minus z squared. Cool. Now in this top part, we have a 25 in common. And we have an x squared in common. Very nice, very nice. All right, in the second row, we have a negative, and then they have nothing in common, so negative 1. Now we pulled out the negative again because this is negative, so we have to pull out a negative. So right now, this is what our terms look like. 25x squared minus 1, y squared minus z squared. Now, I don't know about you, but I can see that this goes further. So I'm going to have a box for each one of those. So I have 25x squared minus 1. Some of you remember the shortcut already. Actually, if you remember the shortcut, might as well use it. Take the square root of the 25x squared, we get out 5x. Take the square root of 1, we get plus 1. 5x minus 1. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. Take the square root of y. So y, take the square root of z squared. So we've got y plus z, y minus z. So then my answer up here would be 5x plus 1, 5x minus 1, y plus z, y minus z. And that's my whole answer. And obviously, you could do box methods for both of those, or you can remember your shortcut. My favorite's the shortcut, because life is easier that way. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great day.